Discovering things that developers leave behind in video games has always been my jam. Oftentimes, these things would go hand in hand with the mysteries that I would hunt down as a kid. I spent my days traversing these digital landscapes looking for relics of the past or clues to a story that wasn't quite told. By now, I've covered a lot in the Mario Galaxy games, but honestly, we're just getting started. And today's video actually has us going back to the desert again. Mind you, we're not talking about the same place those unreachable mushrooms were at, which was Slipsand Galaxy. Today, we're turning back the clock and focusing on one of the most expansive levels in Super Mario Galaxy 1, Dusty Dune Galaxy. Now, when I say expansive, it's kind of twofold. For one, the main planet we are on in this galaxy is obviously enormous, but Dusty Dune Galaxy also has a whopping 7 stars to collect here. You'll find yourself coming back here again and again, trying to collect them all in your travels, and that's where we find ourselves today, playing through the various missions and noticing something a bit peculiar on the horizon. So the first 2 missions play out pretty smoothly. There isn't really anything notable in these areas, but it is important that we get an understanding of their foundation, especially Star 1, soaring on the desert winds. On this star, we traverse an enormous tower in the center of the level, and regardless of where you are in this galaxy, that tower is always a focal point due to its size. It's important to remember the location of it because we'll be coming back to it shortly. Now on Star 3, Sunbaked Sandcastle, this is where things get interesting, because halfway through the level is where I ended up noticing something a bit strange. After clearing the first disc-shaped planet, which is the place you launch to after you start the level, you'll find yourself on a planet that keeps increasing and decreasing in size. Now this in itself isn't strange, but it's what we can see in the background that is. If we travel to the top of the planet with the large-sized pricker bush thing, honestly I don't even know what these things are called, but they'll basically stab you to death. If we go up there, our camera pulls back for a moment, allowing us to see a peculiar launch star in the distance, way down below. It's a bit annoying to do this because you can't access first-person view due to the planet constantly changing size. Now at first glance I thought, well maybe this is a different star mission, or it's a previous launch star I used earlier in the level. In terms of distance, sometimes areas unload and leave the objects behind. You've probably heard me say this about Grandmaster Galaxy in Super Mario Galaxy 2, where a mysterious floating launch star in the distance appears to be randomly placed. In that case, it's only the previous map section that unloaded, and due to our proximity to the object, we can still see it loaded. But that's not what's happening here. The area we started this level on isn't between these 2 pyramids, and beyond that, the area this launch star is in is way off course for how the level normally progresses in any mission that I can recall. But I did see it was near the large tower I pointed out before. So that's where I decided to backtrack. I exited the stage and reselected Soaring on the Desert Winds again. I made my way to the tower at the end of the stage and began to climb. Now, since I was up above and looking down below, I knew I had to figure out my positioning in reference to where the star actually was. But this is where I began scratching my head. Upon entering first-person view and looking out across the sand, I couldn't find the star anywhere. I was close enough where the object certainly should have been loaded, but the space between the 2 pyramids was blank, so perhaps I wasn't close enough. I figured I might as well check and see if the star is there, so I climbed a bit higher and long jumped off the tower towards where the star was. But there's a problem with that too. This entire tower is encased in giant invisible walls, a couple meters out from where the tower is. Your character won't bop their head, but it'll hold them in place and prevent them from moving. But even with the added distance, no star was to be found. So this is when I realized the launch star only appears in one scenario out of the entire level, and that is Sunbaked Sandcastle. It is an object bound to that set of rules, and thus only appears when it is activated. It's very similar to the inaccessible moon I found in Spin-Dig Galaxy. We can't actually get to it because it's only present on a mission that doesn't take you to that part of the map. So I busted out the old flying hack again and traveled over to this strange launch star. Weird enough, making your way to the launch star itself actually inverts gravity for the entire planet, meaning instead of getting pulled towards the planet, you are pushed into the sky. Kinda seemed bizarre as it basically forces you away from the launch star. On one hand, you have deadly sand if you go too far, and on the other, you'll be ejected into space to die if you cut the power to your flight not close enough. But entering this launch star basically takes you way back up into the atmosphere, and on top of the final area for the Sunbaked Sandcastle mission. It's the same destination as the star that normally takes you to that planet, which is strange. And this is where there are 2 possible explanations for how this launch star got here, and what it was once used for. 1. This unreachable launch star was a copy and paste of the launch star at the end of the level, probably set aside while the developer was linking all the various planets together. Once a level was completed, the developer forgot to delete it, due to the star's color blending in so well with the shifting sand. Or explanation 2. Sunbaked Sandcastle, or rather the early form of Star 3, actually used to have more ground-based sections. We obviously start the map out near the ground before being propelled into the sky, but it's possible that before heading upwards, we actually used to move outwards. Instead of having only one ground-based area, there were many. And it's possible that even the disc-shaped planets may have actually been ground-based areas, where the sandy towers rose out of. It makes sense given the giant adjacent tower nearby. Perhaps this launch star down here is an asset that was forgotten during the deletion or moving process. Considering this, it's actually neat to think that this lost relic could be a hint at how this level evolved over time. A lost launch star, defended on all sides from deadly sand, reverse gravity, and sky-high invisible walls. Quite the defense setup if I must say so myself. Another mysterious entity left behind by a developer that we can never ask what its purpose was once for. The unreachable launch star of Dusty Dune Galaxy. But now that I shared that, have you ever tried to reach this launch star? Make any other weird discoveries of your own? Let me know in the comments below.